What is the difference between a limited series, an episodic series, and a serialized series? It's important to know if you're planning to write anything for television. First, because producers will ask you, which is it? And secondly, even if you come to a meeting, whether it's on the phone, on Zoom, or in person, they might ask you, oh, you have a limited series, but what would that look like if it were an episodic? Or what would it look like if it's a serialized and it became a limited series? So you want to be prepared because you want to know the difference between these three. Now stay tuned to the end and I'm going to give you a television marketing trend that can help you right now. And I'm going to tell you how to access a free television series cheat sheet PDF. So what is a limited series? Think Chernobyl or The Queen's Gambit. It consists of one season with a closed story that has a beginning, middle, and an end. The character arcs fully wrap up. There's no see you next season. The limited series is treated more like a long feature film with mini episodes. Most producers will tell you that this is the best for adopted novels like The Queen's Gambit, for contained mysteries. However, we have seen limited series that have expanded into different genres. The good thing about this particular type of series is it has a lot of freedom for the writer because even though the plot has to have its ups and downs, its reversals, its twist, its tension and pacing, it's really about landing that ending in the series. The ending that makes it memorable enough to become a word of mouth bestseller on its own. Agents and managers in town love these limited series because they have the ability to attract big A-list talent who don't want to be committed to a long-term series. They want the flexibility of making motion pictures as well as the limited series. Now, a limited series can be anywhere from 4 episodes on up. On average, there are around 8 episodes. Each of the episodes runs approximately on average about 50 minutes. There have been shorter ones, and I have seen, like I'm sure all of you have, ones that are longer, sometimes even running over an hour in a single episode. But on the average, it's around 50 minutes. And like the feature film screenplay, it has a beginning, a middle, and end. So if you treat it with that respect, it doesn't seem like quite the daunting task that it is. It is currently one of the most popular types of television series that is selling from both the A-list screenwriters as well as aspiring writers. Stay tuned for more information on that under my marketing trends section of this video. Now for the episodic series. Think The Simpsons. NCIS. The best representation of the episodic are your crime dramas. At the beginning, it introduces some type of crime. Could be a homicide, a burglary, robbery, and during the course of the show, we find out who's responsible. We might go on a few misleading adventures in the meantime, a few reversals, but by the end, we know exactly who did it. They're either caught or deceased, and this story wraps. It's all in one packaged container. Occasionally, we'll have an episodic that will reintroduce a character who maybe went to jail on another episode and then got free somehow, and now he's back to his old ways or he escaped. However, even then, that episode where they have the character who's returning always ends up maybe back in the slammer at the end. They are contained mini movies. The character or main hero of the episodic series does not change. If he has an issue, it's ongoing. It's like a through line throughout every episode, as long as the series is on, whether it's on for 1 season or 10 seasons. If, for example, maybe he was a drinker or he had a problem with cigarettes or he's trying to rebuild his marriage or he sometimes gets close to fixing this flaw or this problem he has, and then he gets a reversal and ends back at the beginning. It's a continuation. The only time you will see that hero completely fix his flaw is at the very last episode. Let's see. An example would be the series Monk that was on about the defective detective. His wife's homicide was the only murder he had never solved. And it continued on season after season after season. But in the very last episode, he finally solves his wife's murder. That is an example of how the episodic series handles the flawed character. TV networks love episodics because once they get into syndication, what we call reruns after about 100 episodes, they can play them in any order. They can play a show from season 5, and the next time it's on, they can play it from season 1. However, this can prevent a challenge for the writer because the writer must stay within the formula accepted by the audience for the episodic, whether it's crime or it's a comedy or a sitcom. If they deviate too far from the formula, the audience will be like, oh, what am I watching? Well, at the same time, they have to keep that formula fresh with reversals and new obstacles, but within the confines of the formula accepted by the audience. And lastly, we have the serialized series. Think Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. Every episode connects to the next episode. Storylines and character arcs build season by season. This particular type of series requires the viewer to watch every episode, or they could have lost some valuable information. This creates a deep emotional investment for the viewer that networks and streaming platforms like, because it keeps that viewing audience coming back again and again. They don't want to miss anything. These are the type of series that people binge on because they have to watch every single one in order to get it. There's no skipping around from season 1 to season 3. You have to watch it one episode at a time. This can present a real challenge for writers. The reason is that the tension has to be high and the pacing has to be really tight across multiple episodes to make this work. The reversals have to keep coming because if that audience starts to guess and it becomes predictable, they already know what's going to happen. Why bother watching it? But when they're not really sure, because you keep hitting them with the reversals and ramp up the pacing when they were expecting a calm, quiet moment or vice versa, it makes them want to keep watching because they don't know what's going to happen next. Okay, so in summation, here's how you identify what your project is. If your story ends, it's a limited series. If every episode resets the story, that's an episodic. If every episode builds, that's a serialized. And finally, for our marketing trend tip for this week, I have recently seen a lot of producers purchasing feature-length screenplays for motion picture production and asking the writer to adapt them to a limited series. If you would like me to do a tutorial to show you the workflow on taking a motion picture theatrical screenplay and adapting it into a limited series, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you look down in the description below, I have attached an absolutely free TV series cheat sheet PDF for you. You don't have to put in your email or anything like that. I really hate when they make you do that just to get something free. You just click on it and you can download it right now. Thank you for watching my video. We're back every week where we're deep in the trenches of what's going on in Hollywood. And I'm Barb Doyon. I am a Hollywood story analyst, and I have been for over 25 years. Started out with Walt Disney Studios, and I now own my own coverage company. So if you'd like to subscribe, I'll be giving you my tips and tutorials every single week. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you next time.